Okay. So there is number 3. So we're still doing this fair division. We've got to finish this up. We really got to get on to chapter 4. 4 partners, Burly, Dandy, Curly, and Greedy, sounds like the 7 dwarves, are dividing a $3 million property using the lone divider method, using a map. Greedy divides the property into 4 parcels, table below, blah, blah, blah. What parcel does Greedy get? Describe the outcome of the fair division, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so how do you do this question? Well, they're saying it's a $3 million property. So take $3 million. And they're dividing it with how many people? 4 people. So just use your calculator, divide that by 4. Isn't it 750,000? And that will be a fair share. Right? That's how we always figure fair share, right? We just divide by the total number of people. You with me on that? It's making sense. So, this computer fired up the right way. So, so once we have that fair share amount, then we just go in and we circle all the ones that are 750 or more. Those will be fair shares. So for Greedy, that's all of them. Yeah, I could have just looked at Greedy, huh? Since he cut them fair. Remember the divider? Greedy's the divider. Remember the divider always cuts them fair? In his mind, fair? Because he's going to get last pick. Everybody remember how that works? Greedy's the divider. Greedy does the... So whoever does the cutting, like there's a big... What this means, there's a big old plot of land. And Greedy came in and went cut, cut, cut. And broke it into section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. They're not showing me what he did, but somehow Greedy made the land into 4. He cut the land into 4 sections. And what Greedy will do, the cutter, the divider, is he'll cut it so that it's fair in his eyes, because he gets last pick. Right? The cutter gets last pick. So he'll make them all fair in his mind because he's going to get last pick. The other people will all look at the different sections. And, different people have different feelings. Maybe some of this land is near water, and some of it is not near water, and some of it's high ground, some of it's low ground. Different people value different things. And so the people are going to give their feelings on what each piece of land is worth. And we already figured out that the total value of the land, $3 million, divided by 4 is 750,000 is a fair share. So any piece that's 750,000 or more is a fair share, right? That's why they're all fair to Greedy, because he did the cutting. They're all 750,000 for Greedy. How about for Burly? Just piece 4. Only piece 4 for Burly is fair or better. Fair or better, right? The other ones are only worth 600,000 to Burly. He doesn't think S1, S2, or S3 would be fair. If you gave Burly S1, S2, or S3, he would not think he got a fair deal, right? Because, again, 750,000 fair, we took the total amount divided by 4, and that's what a fair share is. And how about Dandy? Dandy has the 840, so I'm underlining any number that's 750 or better. So for Dandy, he could have S1 or S4. Either of those is a fair share for him. For Carly, the first 2, and the last one. Those are all fair share for Carly. All right. So is there a way to give everybody one of those pieces so that they feel they got a fair deal? How would we do it? Well, clearly Burly would have to get the... Burly only likes one of them. So Burly would have to get that, right? So S4 for Burly. I'll just put B. Have to be. Okay, now once we've given piece 4 to Burly, let's go to Dandy, because Dandy only likes 4 and 1, so we'd have to give Dandy piece 1, huh? Right? Because there's only 2 that Dandy likes. And piece 4 has already been given out. And then if we went to Carly, Carly likes 1, 2, and 4. 1 and 4 are already given out, so we'd have to give Carly S2. And then Greedy can have any of them, so Greedy's fine having S3. Yep, that's the only way to do it, huh? That's the only way so that everybody gets a piece they feel is fair. That's all they're asking for in this question. So then they'll go through and ask you, which piece does Greedy get? Well, Greedy gets Wait, where did I put grade? Did I put another D there? This is supposed to be a G, huh? G, there. Grady gets piece S3. And they'll ask you for all the rest on that. Is that good? Does that make sense on that? All right, so let's see what else we got. Called the method of markers. So remember what this section, this chapter, has been about. This has been about how do we fairly divide things up. And then chapter 4 is an easy chapter. You'll like chapter 4. Chapter 4 is easier. 3 is hard. Like the cake ones are pretty hard. The inheritance, what's it called? The sealed bids, that's pretty tough. 3 had a couple tough things. 4 is easier. You'll like chapter 4. That's an easier chapter. And we're taking our exam. Oh, practice exam is next week, huh? Yeah, practice exam is next Tuesday. Real exam the week after that. So we got a little bit of time. So chapter 4 this week. Okay. So this is the last thing in chapter 3. What are we doing? Well, it's basically if you have a whole bunch of objects. We've had some different ways of dividing things up fairly. And why we have different methods is because they're for different kinds of objects. So if you have a big cake or a big plot of land, the method of lone divider, it's called. One person does the cutting and the other people do the picking. That's pretty much the most commonly used. When you have one big, pizza or cake or sub sandwich or plot of land, one person cuts it all up knowing he or she's going to get last pick, and the other people say which ones they like. And then you divide it up that way, with the cutter getting last pick. But if you have an inheritance, right, for an inheritance with lots of money or land, or if you have a business you're trying to break up, we did the method of sealed bids. That was a good way to do it, right? Everybody put in what they thought the 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 objects are worth. The house, the cabin, the farm, the painting, whatever, right? So if you have just a few objects that you want to break up fairly, the method of sealed bids was a good one. And now, if you have a whole bunch of objects, what if you have 13 pieces of candy or whatever these are? 13 items. You got a whole bunch of items, and you're going to divide them up among a few people. What is a nice way to do that? Well, this is going to be called the method of markers. And what it is you would have each person put a marker marking off the different sections that they think are fair. Remember, fairness is fairness in their eyes, and everybody has a different value system. If these are pieces of candy, maybe some people like chocolate better, other people like sweet and sour flavors better, whatever. Different people have different desires and feelings. So it's got to be fair in their eyes. So for example, let me just write out the numbers on the candies or whatever they are. So suppose we got 13 candies, and you're gonna say to each one of them, okay, person A, you go first. Mark the candies. How many? Are there 3 people? Or A, B, and C. Yeah, 3 people. A, B, and C. So there's going to be 3 people. So we're going to say, all right, person A, you go first and break all of the candy into 3 sections that you think are fair. Do whatever you want. And look what A did. A put a marker between 4 and 5. See right there? So that's A's first marker. They put one right there. And then their second marker, they put between 9 and 10. There we go. There's their 2 markers. What is A saying by putting markers in those 2 places? They would be happy. They would feel they had a fair share if they had this section or that section or that section. Right? A is dividing them up fairly in his eyes or her eyes. If you said, okay, A, we're all done. You get candies 1, 2, and 3. A would think, that's not fair. I said 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be fair. If you just give me 1, 2, and 3, I didn't get what I think is a fair share. If you give A candies 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, he'll think, great, that's even better than fair. 1 through 4 would have been fair, I'll take it. 1 through 5 is great. Make sense what we're trying to do? We want it, and when all is said, again, the goal of this chapter is how can math come in and help society break up things fairly to where they actually feel they got a fair deal when all is done, right? That's our goal, that everybody would say they've been treated fairly. Okay, well, that's what A is saying. And what is B saying? B, look what B did. B put markers in different places. B put a marker here. That's his first marker, right? Just candy 1. And B put another marker here. So look what B's kind of different. B really likes candy 1. Do you get what I mean? Why am I saying that? Because when B marks the candies up, maybe if I take A out of the picture, it'll be easier to see. Let me erase A for just the moment so you can see what B is really saying. Is it a little more clear now what B is saying? B is saying, if I just get candy 1, that's a fair share. That's like his favorite thing or whatever there. Or 2 through 6, or 7 through 13. He must not like these as well. It would have to be like all those to be a fair share in his mind. Make sense what B is saying? And then C is saying whatever C is saying. So let's put them all in there now. So where was A? A is between 4 and 5. A1 and A2 is between 9 and 10. This is 10 here. And then C1 is between 3 and 4. Okay, and C2 is between 8 and 9. Okay, so anyway, they're all dividing up the candy into 3 equal sections in their opinion. Okay, so here we go. How do you do the method? How do we give away the candy? Well, first step is start on the left. Start on the left. First marker. Find the first marker. So who's the first marker? Well, B. Starting on the left, I mean. So we always start on the left. We grab the first marker, and then we just give them the candy to the left. We're always circle to the left. You always, so we'll say, all right, boom, there you go. That's for player B. Player B gets his candy number 1. And he says that's a fair share, right? So he should be happy. Take your candy number 1 and go, B. You get it. And you said it was fair, so you should be happy. Make sense so far? Second step, circle the first number 2 marker. So on step 1, we circled the first number 1 marker. Now we're going to circle the first number 2 marker and go left to that letters, I want to be clear here, that letter's other marker. That's the part that tricks people. So, okay, what's the first? Oh, by the way, B's out of the program now, right? So we're not gonna say B2 is the first 2 marker. B's out. B's done. B's been given their candy and they're done. All we have is A and C left. So what's the first number 2 marker? These are all B1, C1, A1. Those are their first markers. This is B2, but he's out now. B's done. C2, there it is. C2. So, okay, so right there. Now, what am I going to circle? Go left, but how far left? Am I going to go like, here's the mistake people make. People go like this, and they think they should go all the way left. No, we're not going all the way left. We're going to that letter's other marker. So in other words, I'm just going to circle 7 and 8. Why? Well, oh, no, that's not right. Sorry, I'm totally confusing the issue. It's not to B's marker. It's to that letter's marker. So go all the way to there. There we go. Everybody see that? Why there? Well, because that's the section that C marked out. See how those are the 2 markers C put down? See how C marked out that section? You're always giving somebody a section that they marked off. Not more. Not less, but a section they marked out. If I went all the way down to the 2 and 3, that's not, C'd be happy, of course, but that's, not a section marked out by C. I'm giving C the section they marked off right there, between 2 C markers. We're always going between 2 markers of that letter. Good to there? And then step 3, last marker, go right. Go right. So they're all left except the last marker, you go right. So who's the last player in the game? We did B, we did C, so it's A, A2. That's A's candy. This is C's candy. There we go. Now what about 2, 3, and 9? What about those pieces of candy? They are the leftovers. So 2, 3, and 9 are left over candy. So you can do whatever you want with them, but technically they're left over, and everybody got a fair share, notice. Everybody got a section they marked out, huh? And there's candy left over. That's kind of the surprising thing about a lot of these methods, is there's ways to break these things up so that everybody feels fair and still have extra. So 2, 3, and 9 are just leftovers. B got candy 1, that was a section B marked out. C got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that was a section C marked out. And A got 10 through 13, that was a section. A put his marker there, meaning he was saying 10 onward is a fair share. So everybody got what they marked out as a fair share, and there's still a few extra. That's the method. So it gets a little tricky. People have trouble with this, so we'll do the next example. It gets a little more tricky. You might seem a little straight ahead right now. They put a few more markers in there, it gets a little confusing. So let me just say it real clear again, then we'll do the harder one. So you get the first number 1 marker. You get the first number 2 marker. You get the first, you just keep getting, and then the last one. And for each of those markers, you go left, don't you? You always go left, but only back to that same letters section. And then the last marker, you go right. So then they're going to ask us a bunch of questions. Which items go to A? Well, that's 10 through 13. Yeah, right there. Anyway, you can answer all the questions that they'll ask from there once you have it all assigned like that. Good questions so far? Is that clear so far? And we'll try the harder one. Am I racing ahead? You all good? All right. So okay. Let me let you try first up, rather than me just jump in right away. So I'd encourage you, go ahead and write all that out. Can you see all that? This is kind of tiny, huh? Maybe I'll write it out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, and C1 is right here, and B1, and C2, especially when they start mixing around the 1s and the 2s, it kind of get a little confusing. A2, B2, D1, D2, okay, so there's 4 people now. A3 and D3 both put a marker between 11 and 12 is what that means there. Okay. So I think you'll get more out of it if I let you try first and then I jump in and help. You'll see what you know and what you're not yet sure of. Give you just a second on that. So first number 1 marker, right? First number 1 marker. That's going to be right here for C. Good so far? First number 1 marker, and then go left. Huh? We always go left. Okay. Now I'd encourage you, take C out right now, so that the C doesn't confuse you. That's kind of what I think of the other thing that gets people is they don't eliminate some of the stuff. It'll help. It'll help you. So just go ahead and say, okay, C's out now. I'm not going to worry about C's markers anymore. C's been given his or her candy. Okay, you can do the second step. Try the second one. You're looking for the first number 2 marker. And then give that letter section away. Okay, so what's the first number 2 marker? right there, huh? That A2. Now the question is, we always go left until the last step will go right. But all of them are go left, go left, go left until the very last letter. Then he'll go right. So this is a go left. How far left do we go, though? Only between that, only a section that letter has marked off. So let me say that again. I think it'll really make it easy for you if you really get that idea. We're only going to give them sections they have marked off. So I'm only going to give A or B or C or anybody a section they intentionally marked off. And so that means I'm just going to give him candy 7, right? Because that is a section, by putting 2 markers down on either side of the 7, A was marking 7 as a fair share, just 7. That's what A was doing, right? A could have done whatever he wanted, and he was told to put down markers to break it up fair, and he did that. Does that make sense? I just go there. So that's A's candy. So I went left for just an A section. And now, remove A from the game. That'll minimize confusion. So A's out, C's out. They've been given their candy. Okay? So we did the first number 1 marker, first number 2 marker, you get the idea, first number 3 marker. All right, so now do the next step, find the first number 3 marker, and go left. So what's the first number 3 marker? It's the D, right? And the D, it's just that again, because that's between 2 D markers. We're just giving away 1 candy at a time here. D just gets that section, huh?
Why would it just get 11? Like, wouldn't you go to D1?
Oh, because there's another D marker that comes before that. So by D putting a marker right here and right here, right? He's saying 11 is a fair share for him. So yeah, so we're only giving everybody 1 fair share of what they marked out. So D did that. D put a marker here and here. I know he also put markers here. He was saying if I have candy 10 alone, that's a fair share. Or if I have candy 11 alone, that's a fair share. And so we're only giving them 1 fair share that they marked out. So, like, right, if I went like this, that would be giving him 2 fair shares. You see what I'm talking about? Let me show you. Let me do this. Let me rewrite it and just do D. I think if you see D alone, I think it'll be easier to understand what I'm talking about. So if I lay out all the candies and I go, okay, D, let's talk about what you did, D. What did D do? D put a marker between 9 and 10 right there. Right here. And D put a marker between 10 and 11. That was the D1 marker, the D2 marker. And then D put one between 11 and 12 right there. Look at what D did. We said D, divide that whole row of candy into, there's 4 people now, right? A, B, C, D. 4 equal sections that you think, in your mind, are 4 fair, equal, fair sections. And that probably looks crazy to us, but that's what D did. Which means what? D thinks all of this, candies 1 through 9, would be fair, or just 10, or just 11, or 12 through 15. D thinks those 4 are all equal. That's what D is saying by putting his or her markers in those spots. So when I do the 11, I'm just going to give him 11. I'm not going to go to 10 because 11 is 1 fair share for D. Yeah, question?
On the last problem, I thought you said for the number 3 you go right.
That's because there was only 3 players in that game. Yeah, good question. There was only A, B, C in that game. So what it is, it's the last player. You go right. So if there's 3, that'll be the third. In this one, we have 1 more still to go. We're not to our last one yet. Good question. Everybody good to there? We have 1 more to go. So they all go left until the last one. So the last one then, who hasn't gone? We got A, C, D. So all we got left is B. So then you just find the last B. You go right. Everybody, well, I guess C got 3 candies, but the other guys only got 1 candy. They marked them. They put their markers there. They were saying that's a fair share in their opinion. So there's more than half the candy is left over in this case. And everybody got what they marked out as a fair share. Good? Makes sense on that? Are we happy? All right. I'm going to move on if you're good. Okay, so there we go. A bunch of words, blah, 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 Sophie, Jesse, Katie, da-da-da-da-da-da. This is a tricky one. This is a pretty tricky problem. Basically, the fact is, let's underline up there what it's saying. Sophie, in fact, I'll just rewrite it for you here. Sophie, well, she loves country, hates rock and opera. Loves country only. Let's just say country only. Jessica loves rock and country. So Jessica, loves, these are music CDs, loves rock and country, R and C, and that's it. And Katie, she loves, what does she love? Right here, rock and opera. Rock and opera and hates country. Okay, so basically there's a bunch of CDs. Suppose these three friends are going to, they've collected all these CDs and they're going to, or they buy them, where do they buy them? At the, whatever. They bought a bunch, 15 CDs at a garage sale or something. And so then they lay them all out and they're going to break them up among the three friends using the method of markers. So how will they do that? How will they break them up so that they are doing it fair? So this is kind of tricky because what they're asking you to do is not just do the method of markers, right? We do the method of markers after they lay down their markers, huh? They're asking us to actually put on their glasses and think the way they would think as they lay down their markers. So let's put on Sophie's glasses for a minute. Sophie is thinking, so think like Sophie. Sophie's thinking, I love country only. All that matters is country. The rest is garbage. Country only. So as all these CDs are laid out before Sophie's eyes, right? Opera, opera, rock, rock, country, 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 rock, on you go. Sophie has said, okay, Sophie, break them into 3 sections, right? Take all those CDs, Sophie, right here. You can't reorder them. They're in whatever order they're in. But you could put down 2 markers to break them into 3 sections. You know what I mean? Right? If you have a stick, if you cut it once, it's 2 sections. If you cut it twice, it's 3 sections, right? That's what we're talking about. So she's going to put down 2 markers, breaking the thing into 3 sections, right? So, okay, Sophie. And she's going to, what is Sophie going to do? She's going to do it so those 3 sections in her mind are equally valuable. Okay. What do y'all think? Where's she going to put her markers? Well, of course, you might see it's... Oh, no, I guess I didn't answer the question. Yeah, those are multiple choice. Yeah. Yeah, so we can answer it. Okay, I thought we were looking at the answer. We're not. All right, so yeah, where do you think she's going to put her markers?
I think that's B.
B.
Why? What's your thought on that?
I think it's A.
First marker goes left, right? First number 1, so...
So talk to me about Sophie and what she values.
Country only.
Country only. So Sophie is looking and she's saying valuable, 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 valuable. The rest is garbage to Sophie. We'll do the other people in a minute. Right now, Sophie, right? That's how Sophie sees it. 6 valuable CDs and a bunch of junk. That's how Sophie sees it, right? So...
I thought they each have to get at least one. I don't know.
No.
I think it's A too.
I forgot.
So just think how Sophie will think, right? So just we don't need any fancy. I'm not doing a particular method right now. I'm not actually doing the method of markers. Am I losing you?
Right.
I know we just went over the method of markers is what you do after the markers, and we'll do that later. Right now, we're just thinking their thoughts about where they put the markers down.
I think she would want B because she'd want country in every section. And so 6 CDs divided by 3 would be 2. So B puts 2 country CDs in each section.
Exactly. Right? Isn't that what Sophie wants? Sophie thinks only country is valuable. Okay, Sophie, there's 6 country CDs up there. And we're saying we want you to break it into 3 equal value sections. She goes, okay, two country, two country, two country. Well, yeah, but what about, I don't care about the other stuff. It's trash to me, says Sophie. Just as long as she gets two country, two country, two country, she thinks they're equal, right? Isn't that how Sophie thinks? So where will Sophie put her markers? She'll put one right here, because that section would then have, well, I'll just do it up here. Right here, that section would then have two country on the left. And she'll put another one right there. That way the middle, I kind of did that too bold there. The middle will have two country, and the right will have two country. Does that make sense? That's what Sophie's going to do. Those will then be equal value to Sophie, won't they? They'll each have two country. She doesn't care about the other stuff. And that is B, isn't it? Is that B? No, it's not B. Is it B? Yeah, I guess it's hard. They slid it over. Yeah, it looks like B is right there, and yeah, it looks like B so far. Let's go on to Jessica. How about Jessica? What is Jessica going to do? She only likes rock and country. So let's circle the R's now. So for Jessica, all the R's and C are valuable. R's and C's are valuable. How many of them are there? Count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now thinking Jessica's thoughts. There's 12 R's and C's up there. That's all that she doesn't care about the offer at all. 12 R's and C's. Divide by 3 equal sections is 4 R's and C's per section. Does that make sense? 4 R's and C's, 4 R's and C's, 4 R's and C's. She would think that's equal, wouldn't she? So where's that going to go? Right here, that's the same, right? Because that's 4 R's and C's. Right here, because that's 4 R's and C's. And then that'll leave 4 R's and C's in the right. See where Jessica 1, Jessica 2, where she's going to put her markers? 4 R's and C's, 4 R's and C's, 4 R's and C's. Yeah?
And so their first choice is going to go left and their second choice is going to go right?
No. We're not doing that. I know it's confusing. We're not actually doing the method of markers right now. We're not. This is preliminary to that. So I'm not doing that method I just showed you where step 1, step 2, left. We'll get to that. Right now we're just putting down the markers. That's for after the markers have already been put down. Is that making sense? I know it's probably confusing you because we did the method of markers. They're having us go backwards now. It's like we went back in time before they even put the markers down. We're just thinking, Sophie, there's no more method. There's no technique here other than just think logically with me. Just think, hey, Sophie likes country. There's 6 countries. Divided by 3 equal sections. 2 country, 2 country, 2 country. That's all there is to that, right? And then Jessica likes rock and country. How many are there? 12. 12 R's and C's divided by 3 equal section would be 4 R's and C's per section. So that's where Jessica's markers would go. And then finally, Katie, she loves, you can do the same thing with Katie. We probably have enough information. It's answer B, isn't it? Aren't Jessica's in the right place? Yeah, Jessica's right here between the R and the C. R and the C, that's right. So it's answer B. So we have enough. I don't want to go on with Katie and keep messing around. So it's answer B. We can choose that one. Let's go on to the next. So now that we know it's actually B, B is the real answer. That's where they'll put their markers, I mean. So here, let's focus on B. Forget about everything else for a minute. Just focus here on B. Now, go ahead and do the method of markers. Now that we know where the markers are, they're B, how would you actually divide up? Let me give you a second. How would you actually divide up the markers? So now you would take. So you guys with me? I'm looking at this right here, and I'm saying, okay, who's the first number? Now we're going to do the actual method. Who's the first number 1 marker? So first number 1 marker is Katie 1. So what will Katie get? Everything left. Remember, you always go left? So now we're actually doing the method. Now that we did the preliminary, we found out where the markers actually sit by just using logic. Now we're going to do the actual method of markers. So first number 1 marker, Katie, go left. That's what Katie's going to get. Keep going. So find the number, divide up the rest of the stuff. Find number 2, number 3. All right, so what's the first number 2 marker? Oh, Katie's out now. I was going to say Katie, but Katie's out. For the first number 2 marker is Jessica then. Yeah, because Katie's out, huh? Katie's already got her share. This is Katie's stuff right here. So yeah, the first number 2 marker is actually going to be Jessica, isn't it? Everybody good here, that one? Now, how far down will that go? To Jessica's other marker, right? We always go their marker to their marker, their section. Everybody see how that's going between 2 J marks? So that's what Jessica will get, is that middle section there. Everybody see that? And then we only have 1 player left. So now we're to our last. So last player always goes right, huh? Last player. Who's left? Got Jessica, Katie, Sophie. So Sophie will go right. And there will be Sophie's stuff. The other ones will be left over. Is that good then? So that was just the normal method of markers. The first number 1 marker, go left. And then Katie's out. And then the first number 2 marker, always starting left, first number 2 marker, other than Katie because she's out, is Jessica 2. And so we go Jessica to Jessica. Right there, and then we have 1 player left, the last player, Sophie, go right. Good on that, once we have the markers down. So it's just that weird part, number 1, where you got to figure out where the markers go.
But didn't the question ask which leftovers go to?
Oh yeah, they'll ask you all kind of questions about which ones are left over and which ones are whatever. This will answer all those questions though. Yeah, this should answer all the questions they have to ask on that. Yeah?
How come Sophie gets the O and the R even though she only likes C?
Yeah, so remember it's just wherever they put the marker. She will, you're right, she'll throw the O and the R in the trash, but that's just where she put a marker, and we always go right for the last player. Yeah, she just did it to get the C's, you're right. But there's an O and an R there too, so she just gets that and throws it in the trash, I guess. That's what my kids do when they try to eat food. Sorry, I'm just giving you personal stories now. I'm the dad on the garbage disposal. They don't eat anything. Anyway, all right, so